Hello, Johnny and Ahmad coming to you live from my basement, where today we are going to be doing a very small network. It's going to consist of one router, two switches, and four end devices. Um, the router we're going to use today is the Cisco 1841 series. The switches are both Catalyst 2950s. What we're going to do is just go through the very basic setup of the router. The switches we're not even going to do any configuration to, just see how they work immediately. And then also we're going to make the end devices capable of pinging one another. Um, for the IP addresses on one side, on the left side here, we're going to use the 10.0.0.0 network with a /24, and on the other side a 192.168.10.0/24. All right, to begin with, I have my rollover cable connected to the Cisco 1841 router, and then I have it connected to my USB to serial adapter, and then USB plugged into my laptop. When we first go into PuTTY, as you'll recall, we're doing the serial um, uh, option in PuTTY to COM3 with the speed of 9600. And when you first come in, it takes a while for it to boot up and get to this point. That's why I started here. But you get this command here when you want to do the initial configuration dialog. I always select no. I've actually never selected yes. I've seen a lot of feedback just saying go and say no and go through and do it yourself. And by the way, every day I do a lab setup. I go through this and I reconfigure the router and the switches every time. And I do this so that I develop good habits, and I know what I'm doing with the different devices. So while the router's going through its boot up, we're going to go ahead and configure the cabling and on the switches and the routers. So to begin with, I'm going to connect fast Ethernet 00 on the Catalyst or on the Cisco 1841 to one of the switches. So I'm using a 1.5 foot just regular Cat5 straight through cable, and I'm going to do the same on the second switch, Catalyst 2950, to fast Ethernet 01 on the 1841. So again, I'm using just 1.5 foot. That one's kind of stretched pretty tight, and you can see here where I have the console cable plugged in. This is fast Ethernet 01, fast Ethernet 00. Now we're going to go ahead and connect our devices. I use these extra slots as storage for my cabling, and I've used color coded cables just to make it a little bit easier for me. So what every video I've ever seen, they always use ports 1 fast or on the switches 01 and 02. For this, I'm using just because it's easier for me to reach some of the devices, I'm using 23 and 24. It doesn't matter. All right, for my one tablet here that I have to use the USB to Ethernet 10100 adapter, I'm connecting that, and then I'll just plug that into the USB. For my laptop, I will use, actually let me go over here to, so we have that tablet. Now we're going to connect another tablet here. In this tablet, I'm using the USB to micro USB, and then have the Ethernet adapter connected to that. And in my old laptop, so we're going to put these two on one network. So I have both of these end devices that are over here at this station on one on one switch. So that will be one net. This over here will be one network, and then the other side of my lab I have another network, and I'm going to put this one going to the laptop that I'm doing my recording on. Alright, so now we have the lab configured. As I'm doing this, I'm removing my actual Cat5 coming from my home internet to and then plugging in the, you can see the yellow Cat5 that I just ran from the bottom switch to my laptop, and then we'll go through configuring this and showing you how to shut off the Norton and other things. Alright, so I hit enter and we're back in PuTTY and we're in the router. As I'm sure you know, if you've looked at this at all, then you know that to start you have to type in enable, configure the terminal. So we'll use config T from now on. Now, to begin with, one of the first things that I like to do is to type in no IP domain. What I'm doing here is I'm typing the first few letters and then hitting the tab, and it's looking up what it is I'm trying to type. So I'm doing no IP domain lookup, and that's in case I type something wrong, it doesn't sit there and lock up and search for an IP domain name for it. Alright, we're going to do host name. So this is what I like to call my devices. This is the top router on my server rack, and it's an 1841. Alright, now we'll also do a banner. This is top. So they say your banner is supposed to, put out a warning, how to contact you if someone gets in it on accident. Alright, we're using the pound size as delimiting characters. And then, so we got the host name, the banner. Now, we are currently connected into line console 0. We're going to configure that. That's what we're using, the rollover cable and serial to the serial port there. So what I found is I do this logging synchronous first thing. That way I don't get confused when I'm typing and then a monitor message comes up from the server, and then it still works, but it's just it's confusing for me. I do my history size at 250 so that I can scroll up for 250 lines of code and see what I've done. I think the default is 40 or 50. Alright, we're making our password for this. Cisco, like everyone else does. This is for line, we're still in line console 0, the console port. And then we have to do login. Alright, now we're gonna we'll go to line, we're going to exit out of line console 0. Now if we want to telnet in or SSH in, secure shell in, we go to line V. We're now configuring line VTY 0 through 4. So this 1841 has 5 possible lines you can VTY into. So we're going to make this password Cisco again. Login local. So when you do login local, you have to make sure you put a username and password in here, and we'll do that in a second. And I like to do the logging synchronous for this one as well. All right. And then we're going to, because we want to use a secure way of doing this, telnet, there's two ways you can VTY in, telnet or SSH. And if you telnet, it's not secure. SSH is secure. So we're going to force it to do SSH by putting that by putting transport input SSH. And so now we'll do so to enable SSH, we need a domain name. We're just going to call this example.local as the domain name. Remember I was saying that you need to have a username and password. This will give us the option to telnet in. And we need a key. So Cisco recommends a modulus of 1024. And so it's creating that now. So this makes an encryption key for our SSH. Now what we need, and then just to get the latest and greatest version of SSH, we're going to use version 2. And you need the 1024 modulus in order to use version 2. So only other thing we need, enable secret Cisco. And what this does is when we go to enable mode from what is it, user mode or whatever, then we need to type in password. And here, we'll show our running config. And so this is our enable secret. So this is by using secret, it gave us if somebody was able to hack in there, they wouldn't see our password. So we got the no IP domain lookup. There's our IP domain name, example local. Our username and password, IP SSH version 2. All right. So we're showing here our internet fast Ethernet port 00 and 01. Currently, there's no IP address configured on there, and they're in a shutdown mode. And then the other things that we have configured on our line console 0, we got our password, Cisco, logging synchronous, login, history, etc. All right, so now we're going to go back in. We're going to go config T, that's to configure the terminal, and we're going to do interface, fast Ethernet. So all I'm doing is I'm typing the first few letters and hitting tab, and we'll do 00 first. And we're going to IP address 10.0.0.1. Now, this is one of the things that one of the mistakes I continually make is I'm like, it's on network 10.0.0.0, and I put those, subnet mask of 255.255.255.0, and we get a bad mask because, and what I've understood, to pull up the last line you typed, you just put the up arrow. So because you don't put the network in, and a lot of new people do this, evidently, a lot of people learning it do this, you put an IP address on that port. So not the network. All right, and then so for fast Ethernet 00, we have an IP address now, and then we're going to do no shut for no shutdown. All right, so exit out of that one. Interface fast Ethernet 0/1, and we're going to make that IP address 192.168 10.10.1. Oh, and I got incomplete command because I forgot the subnet mask. I have 255.255.0. Alright, and we'll do a no shut on that also. You can just type no shut and it's fine. Alright, let's go over here and let's start setting up our end devices. So I got to remember what I did. So I made 00 is the 10.0.0.0 network, and 0.1 is the 192.168.10.0 network. All right, so 00 is going to, so 00 is this bottom port. I have the red 1.5 foot Cat5 going to my top Catalyst 2950, and so I have this going to my station over here. So you can't see it, but all I'm going to do is I went to network and sharing. I'm going to set this IP address. So I get a pop-up. Remember, this is my tablet. That's a really cheap Chinese one, and problem is it's so small, but I have a Bluetooth keyboard that makes it a lot easier to use. So the 00 is the 10 one, and we're going to make this 10.0. It's in the 23rd port. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing it. So I'm going to make it 10.0.0.23. Subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and the default gateway 10.0.0.1. And I'll hit OK. Close that, and then all right. I'm just going into my command line. This one, oh come on. Of course it shut down. All right, we'll give that one a second to boot up while I come over here to this tablet. What I'm typing in, I'll show you on the other laptop, is I'm typing in network and sharing in the search bar, and that takes me right here to the network and sharing. I go to the Ethernet properties, and then go to Internet Protocol version 4. I'm going to use the following IP address. And this is the 192.168.10, and this is the black cable, which is going into the 23rd port. So for these smaller devices, you can use, when you type in 10, you can, or on like the default gateway or something, you can use the arrow keys, and that just makes things a lot easier for moving to the next field. All right, so we have the router configured. Let me just do this last laptop, this old Windows XP. I hope you can see this okay. So what I'm doing here, of course I've got pop-ups coming up like crazy. Alright, so this is the old laptop. So we're going to go here to, I'm right-clicking over the network icon there. I'm going to Local Area Connection 3 and double-click. Properties. And then clicking here, Internet Protocol, TCP IP. This is obviously, this computer came up before they even had IP version 6, so that's why it's not even an option. Clicking properties. So this one we're making, this is on the 10.0.0, and so we're making this 10.0.0, and then this is going to be, this is the white one, so this is in the 24th port, so I'm going to make this the 24. And you just tab, and then this will be 10. I'm just doing my right arrow, and then the default gateway is, for the router, is 10.0.0.1. Hit OK, and then you got to close all this. and then to confirm that we are correct, let's see how slow this thing is. While that's closing, I'm going to just come here and get the command prompt and type in IP config. And you can see here we're 10.0.0.24. Subnet mask is right. Default gateway is right. Alright, so now let's come here. We'll go to our Windows. So I just hit the window button on my laptop. Now I'm typing in network and sharing. And I found that typing in network and sharing just saves a couple of clicks instead of going to the control panel. Clicking on network and sharing. Alright, come on. It's taking just a second. So we're hooked up, so the Ethernet. I have it on airplane mode, so my Wi-Fi is off. That's why you're not even seeing that. Go into properties. And this one is into the 24th port on our 192. So we're going to call this 192.168.10. Then I'm going to use my right arrow and 24. I hit tab and it filled in the subnet mask automatically. And default gateway 10. Oh, I hit tab there on accident. See, if you just use the right arrow, it makes it a lot easier. Alright, this is important here. This is one of the things I messed up. Because I do this, hit OK, and then I'm like, why isn't it doing it? You got to close this one out also before it takes. And I'm not sure about this one, but I close it anyways. If you don't close those out, then it won't work. Went to the Windows icon again, typed in CMD, got my command prompt. Alright, we'll make this as big as we can. Evidently I'm using Captivate, and it evidently takes a lot of juice. Alright, users, we're going to do IP config. Alright, and here's our IP address, 192.168.10.24, our subnet mask, and our default gateway. Now, let me see if I can, is there any way to make this bigger? Alright, I'm sorry it's so small. I'll try and blow it up. Alright, we're going to do some ping commands. First thing we're going to do is ping our home. There's no place like home, 127.0.0.1. And what this does is it just pings the internal, I don't even know. It just pings, it's just inside this computer itself, and what it does is it tests the computer to see if it's working. Now we're going to ping the default gateway, so which is 192.168.10.1. So this is going from this laptop to the switch, the 2950, from the switch to the router, and it's pinging the port it comes through the router. Alright, so we're successful in pinging that router. Now we're going to ping the other port of the router. So we first pinged fast Ethernet 0/1. Now we're going to ping fast Ethernet 0/0, which is the 10.0.0.1. Alright, so we're successful with that. Now we're going to ping, I'm going to show you one of the problems that I've had here. We're going to ping 10.0.0. We're going to ping the old laptop, which is 24. And this should work. Yep, this is working here. Now, come back over here to the old laptop, and we're going to ping 2.168.10.24. Now this is the laptop I was just on, and I successfully pinged this old one. This probably is not going to work. Yep, see the request timed out. I hope you can see that. It looks like you can see that. Alright, so why is that request timing out? It's really simple. Right here, I've got Norton on. So I'm right clicking on Norton and I'm going to disable the smart firewall. Another reason that it might be working is I'm going to disable it for 1 hour. Okay. Another reason it might be working. I did it okay, didn't I? Alright. Coming back over here to the Windows, I'm going to go to Windows Firewall. Alright, I'm going to click on the Windows Firewall. Alright, thank you. I've turned off my firewall. So what we're doing here is we're going to the Windows Firewall and we're going to make sure that it allows inbound pings. And I think it's still thinking. Am I rushing it here? I thought I clicked it. Windows Firewall. I don't know what this snap-in thing is. I've never seen this before. Alright, obviously with the Captivate running in the background and recording, it's taken a lot. So we're going to inbound rules. So this is the Windows Firewall with advanced security, inbound rules, and scroll down until you see, let me make this a little bigger, file and printer sharing echo request. So so for ICMP4, which is what we're using now, you want to make sure that that's checked. So I think you just click on it, and then so you click on it, come over here, enable the rule. I already did it for the ICMP4. I'll do it for this ICMP6 just to show you, and then that's it. And you close that. Now, and another thing you can do is just go here to Windows Firewall Properties and just Firewall State. Just make sure these are all in off. Right here, it's off. So if you don't have Norton, you're just using your Windows Firewall, you can just come here and turn them all off as well. Alright, so we'll close that. Now, we'll come back here to our laptop, our old XP. I'm going to hit the up arrow one time, and that brings back that last one. Last time it request timed out, and now we're getting a successful ping. And then I'm sure this will probably be the same issue with my tablet, that my regular use tablet, which is the 192.168.10.23, and I'm pretty sure I have Norton up and running on that also. So I'm going to come here, shut off Norton, just right clicking, and then disabling the smart firewall for 15 minutes. Alright, so, and then I'm just going to hit the up arrow one time. Norton Firewall is disabled on the old tablet, or on the new tablet that I use regularly, and it's working. The only other device we have that we haven't done a ping on is ping 10.0.0, and that's the 23. I put that in port 23. So again, you don't have to use IP address is the same as the port number, but that's what I like to do. So to rehash, in this video we went through the hardware setup, so the level 1 setup, and also the configuration of the router. We didn't do anything with the switches, but you know what we did do? I'm going to exit out of PuTTY just to show you that, I'm sorry, I exit out of command line. Now I am going to close PuTTY. I'm going to close that session and close this. close this. I was trying to do some other things. I'm going to go back into PuTTY, and I'm going to do, I'm going to go into, I'm going to SSH in 192.168.10.1. That's the default gateway. So we're going to SSH, and let's go into that. Oh, here we got this warning for a potential security breach because the server's host keys don't match the one PuTTY has. We made that. We made that those keys, so we don't have to worry about it. If it was a website I was going to and I got into that, I would definitely be concerned. But since it's a server that we configured and we know it and trust it, we can go with it. So remember, we made the username of John, password Cisco. All right. So now we are no longer using our serial port, our console cable. We're now telling SSH in, and now this is going through our Cat5 network connection to the switch to the router. All right, so we click in, we hit enable, and it's asking for the password, and we are back in. We're back in, but we're no longer using the serial port through the console cable. All right, I think that's going to be it for today. Next time we'll do a configuration of switches and probably get into VLANs a little bit. Thank you for watching. Hope to send me comments, send me an email if you have questions, or if you think I'm doing something wrong, let me know. One more thing. So I'm gonna hit the space bar to get through all this. The way I finish every day is I do write erase on my routers and my switches. So I start every scenario with a new, I reconfigure it every time just to get me comfortable doing it. I've only had this lab for 3 weeks, but I've probably configured everything 100 times. So I do write erase, and this will erase the nvram, the configuration. I'm going to confirm that, because next time I come on, I want it to say, that do you want to go into auto configuration, yes or no, and then I hit no. And then I hit reload. Now this is going to say your system configuration has been modified. Do you want to save it? So no. This is where you hit no, because it won't. It's like you didn't do the right erase if you did. So I'm going to continue with the reload. All right, and then this takes. And so the server unexpectedly closes network connection. That's because we were going in through the SSH, and now it no longer has SSH configured. So that makes sense. And actually, in the ports are no longer, the fast Ethernet ports are no longer have IP addresses associated with them. All right, that is it. So next time we'll come in, we'll have to reconfigure the router, but that's okay. That gives us some good experience. Thank you for watching. Send me your comments, send me your questions, and hope to talk to you soon. Good luck. Thank you.